the value of a school-based multi-sport programme to the psychosocial and academic development of first-year boys. The following slides will describe the research process and key findings of a school-based multi-sport programme on the psychosocial and academic development of first-year boys aged 12 to 13 years in an Irish all-boys secondary school context.
Research question. Is there any added value to the educational experience of a 13-year-old boys by participating in a school-based multi-sport programme based on the principles of positive youth development?
The transition from primary to secondary school marks a key phase in a young person's life. The Sport at Dawn project emanated from a desire to ease this transition through shared social recreation and choice. Bandura 2006 discusses the potential difficulty of this life stage where young adolescents sense some loss of personal control, become less confident in themselves, are more sensitive to social evaluation and suffer some decline in self-motivation. These youth experiences are particularly relevant given the context of the intervention programme Sport at Dawn. During this time, as Bandura says, of new social structural arrangements, adolescents have to re-establish their sense of efficacy, social connectedness and status within an enlarged heterogeneous network of new peers and with multiple teachers in rotating class sessions. Stewart et al. 2005 cite the World Health Organization, who state that the concept of the health-promoting school is founded on a socio-environmental approach to health promotion which recognises the significance of the school as a setting for promoting health and well-being in terms of policies and links with health services, as well as partnerships between the school, the family and community. In designing the Sport at Dawn programme, consideration was given to a range of guidelines in respect of how to optimise youth development through sport. Guidelines identified by Hellison 2000 and Eccles and Gutmann 2002 were particularly instructive. Finally, given the age and stage of development of the boys being targeted through Sport at Dawn, Cote et al.'s 2008 notion of sampling was recognised and a range of types of sports were included, including team and individual activities.
As previously mentioned, the Sport at Dawn programme is a school-based one which was initiated in October 2009 and it is still running in 2013. The programme was based on the assumption that positive youth development outcomes would accrue to the participants in an early morning school-based multi-sport programme over a 6-month period. The inputs to facilitate this development were the sports hall and sport and exercise equipment of the school, as well as coaching informed by the principles of positive youth development, and finally a programme which facilitated students in making choices between activities that were physically challenging but which had a variety of challenges, some being team activities and others being individual. In total, 74 sessions were run, with a total of 44 boys participating at some stage in the programme. 21 of these students attended over 70%, or at least 52 sessions. 7 different sports were offered, namely Gaelic football, basketball, rugby, athletics, personal training, taekwondo and kickboxing. 8 different coaches who had been versed in the principles of positive youth development contributed to the delivery of the programme over the 20 weeks.
The primary data collection deployed was a survey consisting of 5 parts: demographics, physical activity habits, resilience, connectedness and self-determination. This survey was administered at the beginning of the programme in September 2009. The 8 coaches who led sessions were given training on the features of programmes that promote positive youth development, as identified by Eccles and Gutmann 2002. The survey described earlier was re-administered at the end of the programme, some 6 months later. The researcher collected school attendance records of all 103 boys in the Year 1 cohort. The end-of-year test results of all 103 boys in Year 1 were also collated.
The table above presents the descriptive statistics representing the overall changes in the levels of the three psychosocial constructs, namely self-determination, resilience and connectedness. Connectedness is divided into 5 sub-constructs: connectedness to peers, connectedness to neighbours and friends, connectedness to oneself now and in the future, connectedness to family, and finally connectedness to school. The shaded areas indicate the cohort with the greatest development across the time frame from the end of September 2009 to the end of April 2010. The group of 103 first-year boys was divided into the control group, those who attended less than 70%, and those who attended more than 70% of Sport at Dawn sessions. Note, a negative score is a sign of growth in the resilience scale. However, when checked for statistical significance, the following was found. A paired t-test showed that resilience, which is defined by Neil and Diaz as the ability to cope with and respond successfully to various life stressors, and has been identified by a number of authors as the key development target for young people. Cantillano et al. 1999, Peterson and Gull 1994, Martinek and Hellison 1997, Henley et al. 2007, grew significantly across the entire first-year cohort. However, when broken into the 3 groups, control group, those who attended less than 70% of the Sport at Dawn session, and those who attended more than 70% of Sport at Dawn sessions, a Wilcox test found that only those who attended more than 70% of all sessions had a statistically different level of resilience, p less than 0.05 and p is equal to 0.044, between the start and the finish of the program. Interestingly, in spite of the social nature of school and the Sport at Dawn program, none of the change levels of connectedness were found to be of statistical significance. As the only factor to show any significant difference between subject, that is between the 3 subsets of the overall sample of 44 boys, self-determination will now be looked at in more detail. According to Ryan and DC 2000, self-determination is the quality of human functioning that involves the experience of choice. Ryan and DC 2000 self-determination scale was designed to assess individual differences in the extent to which people tend to function in a self-determined way. It is considered a relatively enduring aspect of people's personalities, which reflects A, being more aware of their feelings and their sense of self, and B, feeling a sense of choice with respect to their behaviour. The self-determination scale is a short 10-item scale with 2 5-item subscales. The first subscale is awareness of oneself, and the second is perceived choice in one's actions. The figure here shows that the control group showed the least growth in self-determination, while the 70% plus attendance group showed the greatest rate of growth. Bonferroni analysis showed that there was a highly significant difference between those who attended greater than 70% of Sport at Dawn sessions and those who attended less than 70% of sessions. While the initial level of self-determination was highest amongst the 70% attendance group, an ANOVA test did not find any significant difference in the starting levels of self-determination across the 3 groups. According to Ryan and DC 2000, an environment in which autonomy, competence and relatedness are encouraged facilitates the development of the self-determined adolescent. Bailey 2009 furthers that self-determination appears to be the characteristic of choice if one is to focus efforts on an individual's development. Finally, Keyes 2000 identifies self-determination as one of the characteristics of flourishing youth.
Academic achievement. The end-of-year results showed that boys who attended 70% or more of the sessions got a score of over 10% more on average than those who never attended, or who attended less than 70% of sessions. These boys were interviewed and they stated that they were more alert on the mornings that they participated in the programme. Given the statement by Hartman 2008 in the US that kids who play sport on average tend to perform better than kids who don't, the findings from this study in an all-boys Irish secondary school provide an interesting opportunity to test this hypothesis in an Irish context. Specifically, the questions answered in this section relate to the end-of-year first-year exam results and levels of absenteeism in the first year in secondary school. Secondly, it was found that sports club membership was a factor in relation to exam results, with those involved in sports clubs having significantly higher exam scores than their non-sports club member counterparts.
Lessons learned from Sport at Dawn. 1. School management support. It is imperative that senior management in a school give projects such as this their full support. Punctuality of students following their morning sessions is potentially a problem, and flexibility is required for management. Generally, senior management would have little difficulty with any project that is cost neutral. However, given that it is unlikely that teachers in other schools would voluntarily manage such a programme, it may require supervisory hours being built into the school timetable. 2. Coaches trained in youth development. To maximise the developmental benefits of the programme, coaches should be trained in positive youth development. This training should be ongoing and encourage the development of a more reflective culture within the programme amongst the coaches and participants. Fraser Thomas and Cote 2006, Perkins 2007. 3. Adequate gym facilities. Coaches must have sufficient equipment available to them to allow them to maximise their coaching potential. Lerner 2005. In the Sport at Dawn programme, all the sessions were carried out in the gym, and heating of the gym for early morning sessions was of paramount importance. 4. Choices of activities. Giving students choice in the programme is key to the sampling nature of the programme. It is advisory also to allow students to move between modules in the programme. Some students will invariably get disenchanted with a particular sport and therefore may quit the programme if this choice is unavailable. The role of the coach is key in this respect, and liaising between coaches who are running parallel sessions is advisable. 5. Non-competitive. Central to the Sport at Dawn philosophy is non-competitiveness. This distinguishes it from the majority of school sports endeavours, which are usually geared towards some competitive involvement. Social integration of the students is the primary goal of the programme. The concept of intrapersonal learning is important in this respect, with the focus on personal learning and the development of mastery climate. 6. Focus on attendance. As the programme is social in nature, attendance is the key medium to enable the socialisation process to take place. Facilitators, teachers should keep records of attendance and intervene early when students are failing to attend. Communication between the facilitator and coaches is vital in maintaining attendance levels. It is suggested that those whose attendance has fallen should be given some personal support, and those who do opt out should carry out an exit interview. 7. Teacher support. All staff should be aware of the programme and what boys are attending. This awareness will enhance the perceived importance of the programme to the attendees and encourage adherence. Programme coordinators should liaise with other teachers regarding punctuality and potential dropouts from the programme. This would serve to enhance the perceived importance of the programme in the culture of the school. 8. Accessibility for all. No distinction should be made between students regarding ability, fitness, size, etc. The coaching sessions must adhere to this philosophy also. This research concentrated on first-year students only, but this delimitation was only necessary because of the numbers involved. Donnelly and Coakley 2002. Also, the cost of joining the programme should not be prohibitive. 9. Continuous feedback. Programme coordinators should encourage continuous feedback between coaches, students, teachers and parents. Coordinators should also be aware of the general welfare of the attendees at the programme. A timetabled class for Sport at Dawn participants would be ideal for this purpose.